One day I met with a friend and at that point I couldn't even walk. The lies that I was telling myself or the non-truths I was telling myself were no longer in alignment. So what I was living was my comfort zone was becoming so uncomfortable that something had to shift. Why is it so uncomfortable to say that today I'm not feeling good? I say that to myself and I honor that. I don't feel 100% every day. If we work on one aspect of ourselves, yes, we can change, but we can't transform.
In a world chasing success, we chose to slow down, listen, and re-engineer from within. After 2 documentaries and 40+ powerful stories that moved hearts worldwide, this is the Re-Engineered Club. Hello everyone and welcome once again to the Re-Engineered Club podcast. I'm Madhusmita Nayak, your host, and wishing you all a very happy new year. If you enjoy meaningful conversations like these in our platform, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our channel with your loved ones. As we begin today's conversation, let's ground ourselves in a very simple yet powerful truth. Miracles happen when the intention is love. Yes, when the intention is pure love. Today I'm joined by Daniela Nikolova, a holistic wellness advocate and an emotional, spiritual intelligence guide who helps to align mind, body, emotions, and spirit together through conscious living. Let's welcome her and learn about how to lead an integrated life. Welcome, Daniela. It's a pleasure having you in our show.
Thank you, Madhu. Thank you for having me. It's a deep honor to be here.
And before we deep dive into emotions, spirituality, well-being, and so many other things that you have mastered, I just want to know who is Daniela and who was Daniela who started life before 20 years and life after 20 years. And if you look back, what were you really searching for?
That's a very good and very deep question. Thank you for that. So when I look back in time, let's say before my transformation started, I was someone who, I guess I was trying to pretend that I have it all under control, that I was supposed to behave in a certain way, that I was supposed to say certain things in order to be accepted, to be loved. I was suppressing a lot of emotions. Being born and growing up during communist times, for at least most part of my childhood, I was conditioned not to show emotion, not to show vulnerability. I mean, we used to march during snow, during rain.
Yeah.
We used to have this hard shell and just focus on achievements. So that was probably who I was trying to be until my body started to give me signs that this is no longer the narrative. The narrative needs to change and you need to come out of this hard shell that you've built around yourself.
And you never felt that you were actually what you were at that time?
I did, in fact, as a child. And I've always been a highly empathetic person since I was a child, very compassionate. And I used to be named, oh, you're so sensitive. People used to say to me, you're too sensitive. And I remember spending most of my younger years alone, just drawing and reading, because I felt like I should be fitting in, but I'm not able to fit in because I'm so sensitive and so different from everyone else. So at a point, when we grow to a certain age, we like to fit in. So what I did, I put my spiritual awareness, spiritual body in a little box, and I locked it and I put it on a shelf. And that's when I believe I started to disconnect further and further from my essence. Yes.
And when you realize that enough is enough, and as you rightly said, every one of us tries to fit in, please people around, and just see that, okay, this is us, but actually, we know that this is not actually us.
Yes.
So when you knew that, yes, this is high time, I should come back.
Yeah, so when my body really started to communicate with me, when my body started to collapse and started giving me those extreme signs, that was after my second son was born, and he was only 4 or 5 months old. And there was one physical challenge after another physical challenge, and doctors had no clue what to do. They did numerous tests. They sent my files to other countries, to professors, to look for answers. But no one was able to find the answers. And at that time, I was still in that mindset. No, I've got it all under control. I'm okay. And even though I was not happy in my circumstances at that time, I felt like something needs to change because my body was giving me those extreme signs. And now through my work and through my own journey, I've learned that the body starts to give those signs when the mind is refusing to listen. So it was a step-by-step process to recovery until one day I met with a friend, and at that point I couldn't even walk. It was literally time of in and out of emergency rooms, being on
So
IV
it went to that
nutrition.
extent.
Oh yes, I had signs of 8 autoimmune diseases, but nothing in particular. So I knew that something more was going on, and there was an extreme immune malfunction. So I met with that friend of mine, and she looked at me. She said, "Daniela, you're not okay." And I said, "No, I'm okay."
Still, you were not
I
able
was
to accept
still
it.
not
Yeah.
accepting that.
Yeah.
And she said, "Look, I love you, and I want you to feel better. And there is an amazing kinesiologist. I'll book an appointment for you. That's my gift for you." And I said, "I don't believe in that." Coming from me, right?
Oh, yeah.
Especially what I do right now.
Like
And
you don't accept it. And usually
Yes.
we do that,
Yes,
right?
we
Like,
do that. Yes, we do that because we're so stuck in the familiar patterns,
Yes.
right? And I was brought up that way, never to show what is going on within me, to just keep going, to be the strong one, to support, to control.
Don't
Not to
show a
control.
weakness part.
Yeah,
Just
don't show
always, yeah.
weakness. You have to keep moving forward. So I remember she took her phone and she booked that appointment. And the appointment was 30 days from the time I met her. And I was like, okay, that gives me some time
To think.
to kind of
Yeah,
think about
about
it.
it.
And at that time, I wasn't able to even move my right arm. I wasn't able to, I was having spasms. My body was really shutting down. And I remember arriving at the center and they told me that the room is on the second floor. And my first question was, "Is there an elevator?" And I said, "No, madam, but we will help you." So I had 2 people help me go up the stairs. And after that session, I was able to move my arm. She
Wow.
used kinesiology, EMDR, traditional Chinese medicine, and that was a wake-up call for me. And I was literally thinking to myself, wow, there is more to life than what we see.
Absolutely. And it's like a magic.
Yes, it was. Yeah. And that's how I was introduced to the healing arts. And then I was introduced to Reiki. And my therapist at that time, a wonderful woman, she said, "Why don't you train Reiki? You're very powerful and very gifted." And I said, "I'm powerful? I'm feeling so low at the moment. How can I be powerful?" She said, "No, you are a very powerful spiritual being. And I will support you. Come and train in Reiki." And that's how my journey started. I trained in Reiki and I was dedicating 2 hours of self-healing on myself. And after 21 days, because we have that in Reiki, after you train, the color on my face was returning. I was able to drive again. I was in shock how my life was
The
starting to
entire
transform.
life was transformed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I went to another healing modality. Then I integrated meditation. And I was meditating for 6 hours a day for 45 days.
Continuously.
Continuously. I used to make just a massive mug of raw cacao. I just would place it next to me. The moment my children went to school, I would literally sit down and I would be in a constant meditative state
In a
for
stretch
6
of 6
hours.
hours.
6 hours.
Wow.
Yes.
how difficult it was, like you coming from such a background where you're always active, disturbed, chaotic, and suddenly shifting to this path.
Well,
Was that difficult?
what made it easy was that the lies that I was telling myself or the non-truths I was telling myself were no longer in alignment. So what I was living was my comfort zone was becoming so uncomfortable that something had to shift. Yes.
Yeah.
So I was having a breakdown, emotionally, mentally, physically. And that was literally, I always call a breakdown a divine intervention. Yes.
Absolutely. Blessing in disguise.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for me, meditating for 6 hours was like a relief. Because in that space, I found that connection to the divine, which was speaking to me and reclaiming that trust in myself through my connection with the divine.
And seeing your actual self. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And those shifts and even I remember my younger son. He was so little. He used to come to me, and I didn't realize he was practicing Ho'oponopono on me. He used to come to me, and only later when I read the book, Zero Limits, I realized that that's what he was doing. He was saying to me, "Mommy, I'm sorry and I love you. And your colors are changing.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I love you.
Please forgive me."
Please forgive me.
Yes. And only when I read the book, a dear friend of mine introduced me to that book, I realized that he was actually doing Ho'oponopono on me.
Yeah.
And yes, so it was not hard. I was looking for answers. And I'm always focused on solutions. That's how I function.
Solution finder.
Yes, solution finder. I always look at the deeper layers of what is going on. And that's why I probably combine all the different modalities. So from meditation, I moved into prayer. And I was praying every day. I had that dedicated time of prayer and gratitude and appreciation. And I used to sit for 2 hours in the chair and ask myself, okay, so my body's falling apart. What is left in me? I have a very strong mind and I have a very strong, compassionate heart. So I used to sit in a chair for 2 hours and visualize myself dancing again, painting, writing, laughing, going out, being in nature, having fun with my friends. And that's how I started to shift my mindset again. From being the victim who is suffering to, no, let's expand my consciousness. Let's expand the vision.
Bringing hope.
Yes, literally. And this is something I integrate in my work. And when a person comes to me and they literally feel like they've hit the rock bottom, I always look for that tiny dot of light within them. And I work on expanding it and building on it until the whole being transforms.
Beautiful. And I think you yourself are an example, right? To tell your clients or anyone coming to that point of for your consultation. But saying that, why everyone, it's usually a trend, why everyone reaches that rock bottom and then start doing this?
Yes.
So why don't, because this happens to us every day and we should be aware throughout. Why only wrong things happen, bad things happen, and we reach to the rock bottom and then start realizing and valuing these things?
Yes. So psyche is not programmed for change. Psyche is programmed for comfort, for familiarity.
Repetitive actions.
Yes, yes. So anything that we find familiar is perceived as safety, right? And comfort.
Comfort.
Even if it's not good for us. Only when the comfort becomes uncomfortable or more uncomfortable that the change we're guided to initiate, that's when
the change happens.
Yeah. And that's when we're open to it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, psyche just keeps repeating, as long as I'm comfortable, as long as I'm familiar, that means I'm safe. So what I do usually in my work is we change the familiarity to unfamiliarity, and then the unfamiliar, we transform the unfamiliar to familiar. Yes, so it becomes our new norm, our new standards. Safety ground, yes. Safe ground, yeah.
But do you think this is really important that we train our children, new generation. As you rightly said in the beginning, like your body was giving up, but your mind was telling, no, you are strong. The same thing we do it, like in manifestation, also looking and telling, I'm powerful, I'm beautiful, and all that. But there's some days where I really feel low, but still I keep on telling, I'm strong, but actually I don't feel strong that day.
No, and that's because you're not really honoring the truth that your body is trying to convey. And there is no, why is it so uncomfortable to say that today I'm not feeling good? I say that to myself and I honor that. I don't feel 100% every day.
Yes, we all.
No, I don't. And even in the process of integration, we have a plateau where we are between who we no longer are and who we are becoming. So in that
The transition.
yes, it feels like you're walking in this dark corridor and your inner compass and your connection to the divine is all that is guiding you. And it's okay to feel lost. It's okay to feel sad. We have a broad spectrum of emotions, and those emotions are messengers that guide us to a deep place from within ourselves that perhaps if we didn't feel those emotions, we would just keep doing what we've always done.
And we'll never reach the final purposeful destination.
Yes, because we're living in denial.
Yes.
And we're disconnected. And that is one of the major challenges. I was so neglecting the signs my body was giving me constantly.
And also neglecting emotions, neglecting actual what our body is telling. Beautiful, right?
Yes,
like it's okay to accept.
People come to me and say, I'm angry because I'm still thinking about that person. And I say, what is going to happen if you just say to yourself, yeah, I'm still in love with that person, and that's okay? What will happen? Wouldn't that relieve that pressure, that anger? The heart has its own rules. Yes, in your mind, you know that was not good for you, but the heart has its own timeline. And the moment you accept it, there is release. Why are you trying to swim against the current? Why are you fighting yourself?
Just accept and go with the flow.
Accept.
But this is beautiful, right? Like just normalizing the situation and going with the flow and accepting what is reality.
Yes.
But is it practical?
Well, I always say that there have to be two things that happen. You accept reality, but you always keep your eyes on where you want to be. Yes. And so I would never forget this story by Paulo Coelho, and I would like to share it. So there was a young boy, who was looking for the truth, for the wisdom. And they told him that he needs to go to this village where there is a wise man, and he will help him find the road to happiness. So he walked 3 days, and it's always 3 in those stories, right? So there's something magical about the number 3.
Fictional, yes.
So he walked 3 days, he reached that village, he went to the wise man, and he asked him, I'm here to find the secret to happiness. And he gave him a spoon, and in that spoon, he just poured liquid. And he said, okay, so I want you to just walk around the village and then just observe, see what you see, and then come back to me and share. So the young boy took the spoon and he walked around the village, and he went back to the wise man and he said, I saw the market, I saw the people, there were some people fighting, there were some people happy, there was a wedding, there was a celebration. He said, very good, but your spoon is empty. Oh, did I do something wrong? Yes. So now I'll pour another portion of this liquid, and I want you to go around. So this time the boy went around, and again he observed, and he came back, and his spoon was full. And the wise man said, "Oh, you mastered that lesson." And he said, I kept the spoonful, but I still didn't realize what was exactly the lesson. I did not come to that awareness." So he said, "Well, you need to be constantly grounded in the present moment while you keep your eyes on the goal." Yeah. So
Okay.
his lesson was to not disconnect from reality, to experience reality while knowing and keeping focused on
What is you?
what he needs to preserve. What is exactly the goal? What is exactly that is important for me moving forward?
Such a beautiful example. And I think
Yes.
this is how, when we get mature, we forget our reality, our ground rules, our belonging from where we belong to, right?
Yes.
And we get
Yes.
into materialistic world and so many chaos happening around, right? So
Yes.
any three practices that will actually help us to keep us grounded and very much connected to our inner self?
Yes, so I have quite a few over the years. I think I've collected quite a few. I would share things that have helped me. Yes, so and there's a sequence that I like to follow because, especially now, there is a lot of, as I mentioned, disconnect. And the main reason from disconnect is that we tend to spend most of our time in our mind. And
Yes.
in fact, in Koya dance, which I teach, we have a dance and it's called running on caffeine.
Okay.
So that dance is a typical example of what happens when we're overloaded on caffeine, because what does caffeine really do? Let's talk about that for a little bit. Caffeine doesn't give us energy. It blocks the part in the brain that tells us that we're tired.
Absolutely.
So it disconnects us from our reality.
Yeah.
Yes, and so that dance is really an embodiment of that reality. When we're disconnected from ourselves, we just constantly keep moving and moving and moving, and perhaps in directions which are not so beneficial for us. So the first thing that needs to happen is that I'll share the practice that is very effective. For me, what I do is, the first thing I do as I wake up is, first of all, I think, what kind of a day am I going to have? And this is something I learned from Ayurveda. Am I going to have a day where I'm going to channel more creativity, which is usually the norm for me, not the norm, but my reality? Or am I going to have more of a physical, more logical day? So based on that, I'll touch the floor with either the right or the left foot.
Oh, wow. So there is
Okay.
a science behind it.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So just to get that balance from the start, from the get-go. Then the next thing I would do is I go straight on my balcony and I get some sunlight.
Straight to the balcony for vitamin D.
Not only vitamin D, but to feed my pituitary gland to rebalance my circadian rhythm. So then I can go to bed at the same time, or and my melatonin levels will be normalized. And then I don't journal every day now because I just go straight into breath work. But when the mind is busy, I would suggest some form of physical exercise, even if it's putting the music on and shaking the body.
Shaking, stretching.
Shaking, that's a shake dance that I do in Koya dance, for example. And you start shaking the arms, the legs, just to release the cortisol. There is a science behind it, right? So you're releasing the cortisol, and then you can journal for 5 minutes. Just journal anything that crosses your mind. And after that, go into breath work, recentering yourself. And that will bring you into a deeper connection with yourself. And from that point of deep disconnect, you become aware, and then you craft your day moving forward.
Not the other way around.
Not the other way around. Yes.
Yes. So we have 4-step sequence. First, waking up and channelizing what kind of day you want. Suppose I'm into strategy, I'll be thinking whether I'll be analyzing, being practical, or being very people oriented and talking to people, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then straight to the balcony, sunlight.
Sunlight, you look at the sun. If it's not, because I wake up early, at that time I look at the sun for a few moments. If it's too strong, then you kind of look at it, but more with your peripheral vision. Yes, it will still have a good effect on the
Yes, and
hormones.
third, music with stretching.
Yes, or exercise, physical exercise, anything that moves the body.
Yes, and fourth, journaling, and fifth, journaling, and after that,
Breath work.
breath work. Yes. I think hardly all of these will take not more than 20 minutes if you do
Exactly.
it, right?
Exactly.
20 minutes going
Exactly.
to set your next
Absolutely.
23 and half an hours,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Absolutely. And you rightly mentioned that there has to be a sequence for it, right?
Yes.
But people follow social media, including me.
Yes.
I wake up, start breath work, then write journaling, then drink coffee, and then going to shower with salt bath.
Yes.
Why the steps needs to be sequence, and it is very important that people don't follow random steps. And do you think there is an adverse effect for that?
Absolutely. From your experience, if you wake up and your cortisol is really high, are you really able to meditate?
No.
Most people can't. And
Can't
they
focus.
Exactly.
Can't
And people
focus.
come to me and they blame themselves. I can't meditate. So that's why I look at the different aspects, what's happening biologically, what is happening mentally, what is happening emotionally. The diet is very important. How did you sleep? So yes, these aspects are so important for for efficient meditation practice.
Absolutely. And maybe if you keep doing the wrong things in wrong way, you will not see the results.
No, you're actually creating another blockage because you're feeling guilty and you're feeling that something is wrong with you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So there is a mechanism, and I believe we should follow a certain way of doing things, and which is the actual correct way to do.
I agree. And we can't address one aspect of ourselves without integrating the other aspects of ourselves.
Absolutely. And that leads to my next question, that you talk about mind, body, emotions, and spirit.
Yes.
What is the basic definition of all this and how they are interrelated?
Yes. So if we work on one aspect of ourselves, yes, we can change, but we can't transform.
Okay. So when you say change, maybe it will be for a certain time limit only.
Exactly. But it's not sustainable because we have not, let's put it that way. Let's say there is an earthquake, forbid God, but all the rooms get demolished.
Yes.
And for you, in order to go back home and live the life that you were living before that, integrate. In fact, every trauma is like a mini earthquake, right?
Yes, yes.
So imagine you fix only your bedroom. That's exactly it. You
But
fix
your home
only
is
your
not
bedroom,
set.
but your kitchen is not fixed, your
Set.
bathroom is not fixed. Eventually, the cracks in the other rooms are going to start affecting you. Yeah, so you can't live from a place of wholeness, from a place of alignment. This is why, and looking at, for example, doing an emotional work, doing mental work, but continue eating processed food, sugar. Food is frequency. Food feeds our soul.
It's a fuel.
Yes. And when I look at food, I don't only look at the nutrients, but I look at the frequency, the land it was produced in, the people who handled it.
The supply chain from where it's coming.
Absolutely. Yes. If it's ethically sourced, it's so important. And so all of that contributes to our vibration. And everything is energy. Everything is vibration. And you know that saying that they say, oh, you can't fake vibration. You really can't fake vibration.
Absolutely. Yes.
So this is why it's so important. Or a person who is focused predominantly on their fitness to aim for that achievement, they'll never feel good enough. They'll never feel fit enough. They'll never feel beautiful enough. That's why we need to work on all different aspects of ourselves and acknowledge that.
Yeah.
It's time.
It's time that we bring everything together. Suppose if you ask me frankly, like maybe this out of this 4 aspects, maybe it is highly disintegrated. So if I'm like that, and I hope, I assume our audience listening to us also 90% of them will be that. Because either we focus on nutrition or on our physical build, or sometimes on emotions and sometimes spiritual.
Yes.
But we never consider, I think, purposely, or we are not aware of how to do it. So such a beginner like me, how to start?
How to start? Yeah.
How to start and how to acknowledge our current state of mind with these four aspects or four layers that you have defined.
Yes, so let's start with the body, right? Because that is usually something that people, like to address first. And I mean, we use the body for our daily,
Yes. And most
our
important.
activities. And it is exactly, it is because spiritual awareness without physical health, it's hard to maintain. It's not sustainable. So we start with the body. I would ask, what are my daily habits when it comes to my sleep hygiene? How is my diet? How is my movement? These three things. So simple. Am I moving? Even if it's like for 5 to 15 minutes a day. Even if it's just dancing. Even if I go for a walk. Do I go to bed always at the same time and wake up at the same time? What are my practices before I go to bed? Because that is also an important part, yes? And how is my diet?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be a starting
Sleep,
point.
diet, and movement.
Yes. If we are to start addressing the mental and the emotional, I would start by journaling twice a day. And there is a reason for that. Journaling in the morning and journaling before you go to bed. Journaling in the morning is important in order to start a day. Let's say you have this. When you journal in the morning, what happens is you start painting on an empty canvas. Yes, you're not trying to paint on the top of a painting that was painted the day before.
Absolutely. New hope,
Yes,
new things to
exactly,
do, and what
exactly.
actually you were trying to do the day.
Yes, and journaling before you go to bed, you're processing the emotions, you're processing the day. And I always ask, end that evening journaling with gratitude. What is something that happened during the day that you're grateful for? Even if it's a nice cup of tea that someone made for you, or
Simple smile, someone
something very
smiled.
simple. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And there is a reason why I advise journaling in the morning and in the evening. It's because these are the two crucial points of the day when the mind, we can reprogram the mind, when the mind is in theta state. It's in the morning when we wake up and the evening just before we go to sleep.
So that in the morning we have hope and how we are crafting our day, and in the night we are thankful.
Yes, and also you process the emotions.
Yeah.
Because, as you said, our minds are overcluttered.
Yes.
We are overburdened. We have so many suppressed emotions. And if we go to bed every night without processing, some people have better processing mechanisms or ability, let's say, than others. And people who don't have very good processing ability, what happens is that eventually there is a bigger blockage. I mean, I'm not here to diagnose, but it can lead to PTSD, so that's why it's important to process the emotions and not go to bed
without processing them.
processing them.
Yeah.
Yes, let's be honest. The reason why we hurt other people is because we're disconnected from ourselves. We usually have that little voice that tells us what we should be doing and we shouldn't be doing. And we tend to ignore that little voice.
So that is spiritual?
That is spiritual, yes, our intuition. I always say, once you reach that point, always ask yourself, is what I'm being asked to do going to take me out of balance? Is it going to help me reach the point of balance, or is it going to keep me balanced?
But if I look back and I'm just thinking the practical lifestyle that our parents used to have, they never journal, but they are very calmer. Like, I have not seen my parents journaling, but I think there at that point of time, they were processing emotions in a better way. So do you think we are getting more aware as we go generation on generation?
Well, there is quite a few things to be said when it comes to that. And I hear you, because I look at my parents and I see that they're just so connected to nature. They live such a simple life. And could simplicity be really the answer?
Absolutely.
They eat simple, they go to bed at the same time, they have good community support.
So disciplined.
Yes.
I think I
Yes.
got you. My
Yes.
dad, he's 75 years old.
Yes.
Every day morning, 5 o'clock, he's in the park.
Like my parents, they go together every morning and every evening they go to the park. And my dad has chosen now not to drive. He just walks everywhere. God bless him. And the same with my grandfather, who is in his 90s, and he still takes care of his house.
Wow.
He still cooks his meals. He
95 he is?
93.
93.
Yes. And so, and he has a very simple life. Yes. And they don't have the distraction of, being constantly online, the stress. And so they connect to nature. Yeah, they go to bed, they live a simple life. We have so much pressure now to achieve. Deadlines to achieve, to adopt a certain image, to be someone that, I don't know, maybe to be someone within a short period of time that people took years to achieve, but with not so much pressure.
Yeah.
And if you don't fit in that reality,
quick results, quick fix.
Results, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And so I really believe that there is more distraction and disconnect than connect. We're being kind of, how to say this, but rerouted in a way. And that's why at the moment, yes, we live in a world of artificial intelligence, but more than ever, intuitive intelligence is also very important.
Very important. And going forward and with our future generation, I think this awareness is very, very important.
It is very important. And from a very young age, I've taught my sons gratitude, how to meditate. And now they journal. They've been journaling for forever. So they journal, they read books, they connect to themselves. Yes. Yes.
And as
it's important.
It's important, right? And as you said, your son was practicing that, even you knowing about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it has.
Yes.
So they learn things, and they learn things from us. And do you think now, with schools preferring emotional intelligence and well-being and so much in their curriculum itself, what do you see the future world is going to be?
Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but my son is now in the School of Humanity.
Oh.
And the reason why we chose the School of Humanity is because it's so in alignment with what I believe in and what my sons believe in. And when my son was about to be accepted, he had a 2-hour conversation interview with the founder of the school, asking what are his passions. And they added that to his usual curriculum. And my son is always very interested in the brain. And he said, and I want to know the history of money because it seems to be ruling the world. So they have included emotional intelligence and the science behind the brain and how it functions and the history of money.
Wow.
So if every school was to adopt that practice, I believe that, first of all, there will be less health challenges and mental challenges, emotional challenges for people.
Pressure.
Less pressure. There will be better relationships, more compassion, more empathy.
And good human beings.
Good human beings. Less disconnect. People will be more connected. And let's be honest, the reason why we hurt other people is because we're disconnected from ourselves.
Absolutely.
When we look at that, when we look at humanity, we are all unified, we are all connected. So how can I hurt another person if I know how I will feel if I was someone else was going to do that to me? If I was so deeply connected to myself, I wouldn't do that to someone else, right?
Yes, yes.
Because I will be so connected to their pain before I even initiate that act.
And it is so much relatable, right?
Yes.
And you can relate what the person is going through.
Of course.
And once we reach there, Okay. And once you are transformed, not changed, but transformed,
Yes.
what is one thing that you will not tolerate anymore? Because you have
Yes.
already gone through, and
Yes.
as you have seen, once you reach there, I know the transition is difficult, it's very painful, but once you cross that phase, what is that one thing that is not tolerated anymore?
Yes. So
And that's a beauty.
that's the beauty. And so the first thing that happens when people transform is actually it's a turning point. People realize their value. People realize their self-worth. And from that point on, they start to reevaluate their needs. And then they realize that I can no longer tolerate one-sided relationships. I can no longer tolerate being told not to speak. I need to speak my truth. I can no longer tolerate environments which are not in alignment with who I am and who I am becoming. So the whole reality, the old reality is dissolving and a new reality emerges. Yeah, so people pleasing is out of the question. People reclaim their voice, they reclaim their truth.
Yes.
They stand strong in their power, not in an arrogant way,
But
but in a
realizing their
grounded
own
way.
self. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
in a grounded way. Yes, so very often you see living relationships, coming out of relationships which have not been serving them, but
One-sided, as you said.
yes,
Toxic.
one-sided relationships, and that's not just romantic. That's work-related relationships, friendships, even family dynamics shift.
Yeah.
Yes,
And it becomes a clear distinction between what to do, what not to do,
absolutely. Yes, because you're so connected to
and
yourself.
prioritizing.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and I always say once you reach that point, always ask yourself, is what I'm being asked to do going to take me out of balance? Is it going to help me reach the point of balance, or is it going to keep me balanced? And based on that answer, pursue that action, take that action. If it's not keeping you in balance, why are you doing it? To please others?
Okay.
That will build resentment.
That's a good checkpoint, right?
Yes.
If this, I think we can practice that for every decision that we are doing or every
Absolutely.
task we are doing, right?
Absolutely.
What is that question? Is this task or is this will bring balance in me or it will not bring balance?
Is it going to take me out of balance? Is it going to keep me balanced? Or is it going to help me be more balanced?
And when we say balance, is it grounded again?
Yes.
Same thing,
So
grounded.
this is a conversation I've had many times about what balance
Balance
is.
is, yeah, because balance is, what is balance?
Yes, so many people perceive it as 50-50.
Okay.
And many people get triggered when I say, does it keep you balanced? And they will say, I don't believe in balance. I said, but maybe it's the perception of balance, right? So
Yes.
for me, if it's more about the ingredients, imagine that you're cooking this amazing meal, and let's say you use mostly vegetables, right? But in order to taste, to be balanced on your palate, you need to add a bit of cinnamon, but you're not adding the same quantity as the vegetables, right?
Yeah.
You just that little dash of cinnamon or paprika or
Salt.
or salt. That's what balance is. It doesn't have to be 50-50. It's what keeps each person in balance. If I know that my mind is in overdrive, I'll go and exercise, for example, and then I'll do breath work, and then I'll meditate. But maybe I will spend 45 minutes working out, and maybe I will just take 10 minutes to breathe and 10 minutes to meditate or journal.
Out of this, maybe I will take out a point from my perspective. Maybe balance is happiness for me.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whatever bring
What makes you
happiness
happy?
to
Yes.
me, I will do
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yes. What keeps you happy? What keeps you grounded? Yes. What keeps you in alignment with yourself?
Fulfillment, yes.
Yes. Yes. What really brings joy to your heart and soul? Yes.
Yeah, I
That's
love
balance.
yes, yes. And I think it might be, as you said, it might be different for different people, but actually
Correct.
what is making you happy and what is making you grounded.
Yes.
Beautiful. And I'm loving this conversation, but there are many questions that is so interrelated. And as you rightly said, the routine, the way things are done, and the way we look upon things, right? It really matters. And as you said, the four parameters or the four layers that you have defined, and that brings the wholeness. What is that first layer that gets affected first?
So for every person is very different. But from spiritual point of view, the signs are already there spiritually, energetically, emotionally.
Okay.
Yes. So we usually have that little voice that tells us what we should be doing and we shouldn't be doing. And we tend to ignore that little voice.
So that is spiritual?
That is spiritual. Yes. Our intuition.
Okay.
Yeah. Our intuition is already telling us this is not good for you. You shouldn't be doing that.
And how usually we overhear that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because we are so, as I mentioned earlier, psyche doesn't like to change, right?
Yeah.
So it keeps repeating until then we start to suffer from anxiety, which is more of a physical condition because the body gets affected. We start to suffer from sleepless nights.
Disturbed.
Yes. Even our dreams become like nightmares. That is already hormonal chemical imbalance.
And it reflects in dreams too.
Of course it does. Absolutely. But usually it's when we start ignoring that little voice that, how to say it, it's more like our link to universal wisdom, to our divine, because I do believe that the presence of the divine is within each and one of us.
And what to practice to make it very clear?
Meditation. Yes,
Silence.
meditation, silence. And I am a strong believer in silent meditation. Strong believer in silent meditation because when we're in silence, we get the opportunity to hear that voice.
Yeah.
To hear ourselves, to hear ourselves, to hear our heart. Yes. And that's why journaling is very important. Because journaling, there is a connection between handwriting and the mind, the subconscious mind. So if we sit in meditation without journaling, the mind is just going to keep talking, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
So that's why journaling before meditation is important. So we can connect to that deep source of wisdom within ourselves.
Yeah. And everything starts with silence, right? Clarity, thoughts.
Yes.
Now you mentioned intuition, right?
Yes.
So everything is connected to silence. And I think this is the universal truth.
Yes. And that's why many people, there is actually a saying, during exam, the teacher is always silent. And that's why very often when people go through challenges, everyone seems to disappear.
Yeah.
Friends, family, co-workers. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And so why is that? That's because the answer already exists within ourselves. We just need to
calm down. Yes.
Breathe.
And then solution comes.
Absolutely. Yes.
And if I think and silently listening to you, like it is so practical, right?
Yes.
It's so practical that it happens every day as usual.
Yes.
Just because we are not looking at it deeply.
Correct.
We are ignoring it.
Correct. Absolutely. Yes. And I've done years learning about these practices and going into the scientific part of it as well, apart from my spiritual experiences and my gifts, because I wanted to go deeper and deeper and deeper so it can have a sustainable way of maintaining those practices.
And making it meaningful.
Exactly, making it meaningful and easier to digest for people and to understand it. Because I really do believe that understanding is a doorway to that love that exists within ourselves.
And finding the real answer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
But do you think current public or current audiences or whoever is there practicing, they still accept this industry they believe or there is any blockage, because I don't think people have still accepted this wellness, well-being, and they only come when they are really exhausted. Is there any roadblock?
Well, again, psyche doesn't like to change,
Okay.
right? So people keep doing what is comfortable for them. But only if they saw it as prevention versus solution, that's when the mindset will change.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
think I got you.
Yes.
Like before, because as we already
Why
discussed,
wait?
quick solution. Why wait?
Why wait?
Take prevention
Yes.
better than cure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why wait? Why do we need to wait until our cholesterol goes up to start eating healthy, for example? Why wait until we suffer from anxiety to start looking into our mental health and what is on our heart, on our emotions? What is really cluttering us? What is stopping us? Why? Why wait?
Start becoming self-awareness from the very beginning. And as a family and as an individual, what we can practice, like, to bring this awareness from a very initial stage. Maybe we can teach our children, maybe as young as 5 or 6, maybe bringing them as an habit. As you rightly said, your sons, they were journaling.
Yes.
Right? And
Yes.
maybe after listening to you, I will make my son also do that, because
Yes.
making this as an habit becomes their lifestyle.
It does. And something I'll share what I used to do with my boys. And first of all, for young children who are really not grounded, I always suggest painting and nature, something to do with planting, barefoot. I used to ground. The other thing that I used to practice was gratitude. And especially when we were going through a very difficult time with my children, we used to sit together in a circle and we used to hold hands and practice gratitude for what we have and then appreciation. And we used to say always, I love you 1, I love you 2, I love you 3, I love you 4. For what? Forever. And this is something I learned from a dear friend of mine that I adopted and started practicing with my children. And something else as a family I used to do with my children was every weekend we would sit together and we would ask each other, how can I be a better son? How can I be a better mother? What did I do last week that you felt like you were not seen, not heard? How can I improve? And what could I have done differently? And then we used to take turns and just have that communication. Yes, because it's so important for the children to
be heard.
To be heard, to be seen, to be acknowledged.
Yeah.
And every night I used to go and make sure that they fall asleep with the thought that they're loved. No matter what happened during the day, I would go and say, I love you and you're amazing and you matter to me.
Wow.
Yes.
Such simple practices, but so meaningful.
So nourishing.
Yeah.
So nourishing.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
And yesterday, while I was preparing for today's podcast with you, and I was going through your profile and I was telling my son, he looked at your picture and said, hey, she is such a beautiful mother. So I said,
is so sweet.
So that means I am not. So I started. So he mentioned that, no, she's better. So then I became silent. Okay, fine. Then he came, no, you are the best.
Of course.
So I think this small conversation and just listening them out is so important.
Yes.
Because as I look back and as you're mentioning, like just asking how I can improve rather than always giving them instructions will make the difference.
It does make the difference, showing vulnerability. And that's one of the things which I find very difficult to transform with people is when they have put their parents on pedestal. And it's very hard to accept that someone we hold so high in our perception is actually able to do something that is hurtful for us.
Yes.
Until we realize that they're also human beings. They can make mistakes.
And it's absolutely okay.
Yes. And that's
okay.
why I made it almost like, well, not a point, but I made sure that my children also see me as a vulnerable human being versus a superior human being or superhuman.
Superhuman, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. We always
Yes.
try to show the best part of us,
Yes.
but not the sad, the vulnerable
Yes.
part.
Yes. And
Yeah.
it's okay because that also teaches them not to suppress their emotions, that it's okay to feel sad.
It's okay
It's
to
okay
fail.
to cry. It's okay to fail.
Yeah,
It's okay to have those emotions of self-doubt.
yeah.
It's okay. We have a broad spectrum of emotions for a reason.
Life is not always the greener side. It has the darker side too.
Absolutely. And until we embrace the shadow and the light, we don't feel whole.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's so wholesome talk, I should say.
We're flowing.
Yeah, we are flowing, and it's a lot to learn from you and the wisdom. But saying that, how you feel within sometimes, like you don't feel frustrated sometimes, you don't go through pain sometimes, and how you process that.
Of course I do. Yes, I'm still a human being. I'm still on this earth. I do. But I would say the way I process it has changed through my experience and my practice and the work that I have done on myself. So I acknowledge that there is pain in me. Rather than saying I'm in pain, I would say I acknowledge that there is a pain in me. Okay. I acknowledge that something is hurting me. But let me allow myself to feel that. I allow this pain to pass through me. And then I would focus on something that is really nourishing and loving. I would do something nourishing and loving for myself. Yes. I would go in silence. I would do my breath work to recenter myself, to process that pain. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So the approach has changed.
Yes.
Right? Instead of, as you said, I am in pain, you acknowledge the pain and you do steps to address that.
Exactly. And I also ask myself, what is it protecting me from?
Yeah.
What is this pain protecting me from? What is it that I need to look at? Okay, I've been in a situation where, let's say, someone or circumstances have not been really, I don't feel that, not welcoming or even not fair. But which part of me attracted this? And what is the lesson for me?
Yeah.
What is in me that
every
I need
situation
to work on?
Teaches something.
Yes,
right? Yeah?
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
And yes, I do get frustrated. Absolutely, yes. I can have those moments too. I still have the fire in me. So yes, absolutely, yes.
So that time we must say, I acknowledge the frustration and
yes.
Yes. So the point is acknowledge, address, and reset yourself some time to reset.
Yes, and to transform.
Yeah, to transform.
Yes. So, for example, if I'm frustrated, I would channel it in physical exercise because anger, frustration gives us energy.
Yeah.
But if you sit with that anger, it's going to go into your liver. It's going to go into,
Yes, and it shows somewhere else.
Yes, so just go for a walk. If you're angry, go for a walk. Go and lift weights. Dance. Yes. If you're in pain, then do something nourishing.
You are a box of wisdom. I think when you open the Pandora box, you have solution for everything. At least just showing the path for everything, which is so important. Saying that. And before we wrap up, what is the last message that you want to give to our audience?
Before you go to bed tonight, if there was one question you'd like to ask yourself, if I was to embody love, what would I say to myself? How would I hold myself? How would I speak to myself? What would love say to me at this very moment? And allow that energy of love be felt with each cell of your body. And notice how that feels. That is my message.
Beautiful. Yes. And everywhere, in every statement, you have that word love. And you believe that love is the medicine.
I do.
Yeah, but is it actually there these days?
I do believe it is there if we look in the right place. Love is there. Love is within each and one of us. We all come from the Creator. And as we know, the Creator is divine love. And how can we not carry that divine love that comes from our Father? I do believe that we all carry the love within ourselves. The reason why we struggle to find it is because we look for love externally. If we just shift our focus and start looking for love within ourselves through our connection to the divine, we'll find that there is no scarcity of love. It is there.
It's abundant.
It is abundant. Yes.
Yeah. So instead of seeking out, start looking within.
Start looking within. Yes.
Thank you so much. And I think this conversation was literally I'm getting goosebumps for that. And it's so much internal focus. And what we spoke is all basic things, but so powerful.
Thank you so much. It was such an honor, such a delight being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniela. And I think this small tips and tricks that you have mentioned and how it will help to anyone, I think to any gender, to any age group, if we practice it every day, we are going to lead a conscious living.
That is my dream for humanity.
Brilliant. And how my audience can reach you out?
So for those who would like to reach out to me and have more of an individual or let's say personal time with me, please connect with me. You can connect with me on Instagram. My Instagram is Daniela Nikolova Light. I'm also on LinkedIn as Daniela Nikolova. I also offer in-person sessions at the Wellness Hub, Dr. Ola Wellness Hub, which is also on LinkedIn, wellnesshub.ae. And I look forward to offering support and guidance on your journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daniela. It was a pleasure having you.
It was a delight. Thank you so much and an honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If this story moved you, don't just scroll. Share it, start a conversation, and subscribe to be part of something that redefines what it means to grow. And if you have an inspiring story, please get in contact with her team, info@reengineeringclub.com.